Friends, these are bells, and bells are chiming. So the LIC IPO is also chiming and making the spirits bright. All are keeping eyes on the Big Bang IPO, while the government is also anxiously waiting to make up 75,000 crore from the 5% stake that it is going to sell. So let us ring the bells for LIC and also understand different aspects of IPO, how it is rising high and how it falls down. What are the things that people should need to think on that before investing? So today I'll start the matter by telling DIPAM secretary, his name is Tuhin Kant Pandey. Tuhin Kant Pandey is now interested with the job of dealing with the IPOs and the disinvestments. So he has this topic on his head and he needs to bring it out. So this is LIC IPO. This is the 2022 Big Bang IPO, valued for 75,000 crore from 5% stake sale. And Tuhin Kanta Pandey, Secretary DIPAM. What he says, the quote of the day: the LIC IPO is a large offering and we want it to go off well. In terms of timing, we are watching the market closely. We will surely bring it as soon as we feel we will comfortably carry it off. So this tells that the time is not ripe or the time is not proper. We will definitely bring it out. We will surely bring it out as soon as we feel we will comfortably carry it off. So now, as of now, he is not confident of comfortably bring it out, roll it out. What are the things that are compelling or compelling hurdles for the rollout of IPO? Tuhin Kant Pandey's words are very clear. So, what if it is rolled before time or at an inappropriate time? If it is rolled out in an inappropriate time, there will be no juice. There will be no juice in the fruit. The fruit is juicy. The IPO is also juicy. But if it is brought in an inappropriate time, the fruit will not carry juice. When it is juicy, the IPO is very juicy. But if the IPO is not juicy, people will shirk. Acha nahi hai. So, Tuhin Kanta Pandey also says, we'll bring it out when we feel that we can comfortably roll it out? Why he is not able to roll it now? What are the factors which are compelling him to wait and think? We also have here the great LIC, Life Insurance Corporation, lessons in our hiccups for selling an LIC stake. So these are the lessons. In the year 2021, we bought 79 or something 80,000 crore above in LICs in the startups, which made up to 60 startups, which made up to 80,000 crore. But here, the government should not try to time the stock market in offloading public sector shares, nor should disinvestment be just a coffer stuffing exercise to reduce yawning fiscal deficit. I read again, the government should not try to time the stock market in offloading public sector shares, nor should disinvestment be just a coffer stuffing exercise to reduce yawning fiscal deficit. So here it goes like this. The collective gaze of Indian economic commentators seeking to decode the fallout from Russia's invasion of Ukraine has predictably converged on the Brent oil index as heightened energy prices and a future inflationary spiral become reality. But the finance ministry in Delhi has another index in its sights, the VIX or volatility index. Market certainly caused the conflict has prompted the government to rethink launch schedule for the initial public offering of Public Sector Life Insurance Corporation of India, India's largest life insurer by market share. Why? The conflict, the rising inflationary spiral becomes reality, but finance ministry in Delhi has another index in its sight, that is the VIX volatile index, prompted the government to rethink launch of schedule for initial public offering Life Insurance Corporation of India, largest life insurer by market share. A delay in this IPO, the regulator's approval is valid only till mid-May, will upset hopes riding on the IPO. A significant revenue bonanza for center, a substantial reduction in its fiscal deficit, a triumph against all odds in dragging LIC to the market, and all above all, keeping the flame of disinvestment burning. The center's repeated lapses in meeting ambitious asset offloading targets had sowed cynicism and despair. Oh, who has sown the cynicism, despair? Is it the people, or is it government, or DIPAM Secretary Tuhinkanta Pandey? Who has done all this problem? They are very clear. The lesson we are learning here is quite given very freely. I read it again. See the bell is ringing. The center's repeated lapses in meeting ambitious offset offloading targets had sowed cynicism and despair. A smooth LIC sale would have helped some of that. Whatever the final outcome, uncertainty over IPO holds out two big lessons. There are two big lessons that we need to. The first stems from the fact that despite a long window of opportunity available, the IPO schedule has tacked too close to the wire. It need not have been so finely timed just before close of 2021-22. Since the ministry had 2 full years to finalize the strategy, fine-tune its legal defense and make the necessary changes to IPO, to LIC's corporate structure, and to prepare for it for market outing. While the reasons for this slow approach are mystifying, it would appear that attempts were made to time the market. This seems to be current game too. If then, this is a flawed premise fraught with multiple risks. A 2021-22 year of IPOs, a flourishing year of IPOs. This should have been scheduled and rolled out during the last months of 2021 itself, but they have brought to April 2022, and the things may be different totally. These whole things goes to tell the problem of government in bringing out and disinvesting public sector corporations. It should surprise us if the center has succumbed to such advice. In the past, financial counselors often advise retail investors to stop trying to spot market takeoff points and ride bull runs. The offshore listing of the erstwhile BSNL had to be pulled back because coalition government was apprehensive that a low sale price would invite parliamentary opposition. A low sale price, low sale price, that would be debatable in government. So what if the LIC also gets stuck in such problem? Everything is okay, you are okay, everything is okay, operation table is prepared, doctors said they operated the patient well and every procedure was followed, every caution was taken, but operation after operation patient died. So what if this LIC, if for any reason cannot be priced well during its rollout? Please understand that. Here he is writing a big lesson. Lessons in our hiccups over selling an LIC stake. एक 5% LIC stake selling is bringing about so many lessons, and every lesson is now again pointed towards the invasion of Ukraine by Russia and the geopolitical conditions and the future inflationary spiral become reality. Away such political configurations. Frequently, flip-flops also send mixed signals about the share offers intended to price range, forcing confused investors to use different discounting rates in the cash market for an imagined future fright. Forcing confused investors to use different discounting rates in the cash market for an imagined future price. So the investors are confused. When they will be stable. That's a big question. That's a very big question. When they will be stable, is a great question. And when the geopolitical conditions are clear, and when things are normal, and when their mind gets settled, they will be here. The other lesson in broader and lies in the government's over reliance on disinvestment to set its fiscal right. What was once essentially emergency measure, sell minority stakes in state-run firms to help make up for revenue shortfalls in downturns, has now become a regular feature, institutionalized with its own ministry and line item in the union budget. Unfortunately, selling small stakes has neither helped reduce the center's fiscal gaps over prolonged periods, nor has exposure to market discipline led to visible improvements in India's public sector efficiency. The whole exercise has become an end in itself, with a self-justifying narrative around filling the state coffers to meet its own sell-off targets year after year. Disinvestment can be effective as a utilitarian exercise, but it is vulnerable to future as part of a grand transformation story. The LIC is now linked to disinvestment, and by disinvesting 5%, but this in itself defeating when the seller fails to meet its own sell-off targets. Seller fails to meet its own sell-off targets year after year. Disinvestment can be effective as a utilitarian exercise, but it is vulnerable to failure as part of a grand transformation story. Please underline and you focus this. Disinvestment can be effective as a utilitarian exercise, but it is vulnerable to failure as part of a grand transformation story. So LIC is now put to IPO to fill the state coffers and to meet the deficit targets. And if it is not favorable last financial year, push it up to next financial year. And meanwhile, the story of investors, institutional investors, foreign institutional investors who are very sharp and very active, they may change their minds and gets into a confused position whether to invest or not. Thereby, again, this becomes a BSNL story as told here. The offshore listing of the erstwhile BSNL had to be pulled back because a coalition government was apprehensive that a low sale price would initiate parliamentary opposition. Low sale price. If we receive a low sale price, things will be totally different. See, we cannot dream, we cannot overestimate. You cannot, you may dictate a person working in your office. You may dictate your own person working under you, but you cannot dictate an investor, a retail investors or anyone. If the IPO sounds juicy, definitely the price will be high. If it is not sounding juicy, and if the war continues, and if the inflation grows, and the geopolitical ties changing, things cannot be as juicy as they were before. Things cannot be as juicy as they were before. So caution all the investors, take a very clean look on the LIC IPO especially, because it is sung in many fashions. Oh, wonderful IPO, wonderful IPO. But when you really see the pairing or the performance, once it listed, then we will understand what to be doing. You see why papers are writing in these sentences now. Oh, see the bell is ringing, and see what the bell is telling now. The bell is telling that LIC share sale may be postponed to April. LIC share sale may be postponed to April. I read here from page 1. A total of 10% of LIC shares for retail investors will be reserved for policy holders, and they are likely to get a 10% discount on the IPO price. The third official said the government was keen to go ahead with the IPO at the beginning of the next fiscal. We will try to do it before May. Queries. The Securities and Exchange Board of India has cleared LIC's IPO in a record of 22 days. The government needs a minimum of 15 days to sign on anchor investors before opening up the sale for the retail investors and policy holders, and a delay will push the IPO to next month. So what that again you see what Tuhinkanta Pandey says. So this brings us close to the mind of the government. So Hinkanta Pandey says we'll push it only when the things are comfortable. What happened to things now? Why they are not comfortable? What happens? So Hinkanta Pandey advice you should see. Again I show you here. The Paytm share hits all-time low on RBI curbs. So when it comes to other IPOs, take the Paytm. Shares of Paytm Payments Bank hit a lifetime low of 662.25 apiece on the BSE on Monday in intraday trade before closing 675.35 following RBI's directive to the bank to conduct a comprehensive audit of its IT system. So see how the share has fallen down. So it is March 14th, it is selling 670, whereas when it was rolled out in December 14, that is 1921, it was selling at 1520, but it was priced at this is 60, it was priced at 1520. Understand the graph how it has fallen down from 1520 in December 21, it was performing 1520. March 14th, 22, it came to 1670. More 55%. 55% minus returns. A pathetic situation. Who will correct this? Who can correct this? What happened to the money of people? Whom to go and complain? So whether the government wants its disinvestment program to go smoothly or to take out money from the people, what if it is sold for a sale price becomes low and inevitable? LIC's share sale may be put off to April. A tightrope walk. The government has time till 12th May to launch the IPO. 12th May, watch for 12th May. The government has time up to 12th May. The center is said to be keen to launch the share sale by April end. Center is keen to sell the share by March by April end. IT expects the current market volatility to ease by then. The IT expects the current market volatility to ease by then. So those are the expectations. By March 12th, it should roll out anyway. So all the doctors, all the executives, all the administrators are working, using their brains. It should not be like this. Operation successful, patient died. That was brought out by some old people who said operation is successful but patient died. And that is the position that we are seeing here. The second official said volatility had reduced the past week relative to last month when global indices saw sharp decline affecting the Indian market as well. However, the sentiments of institutions and retail investors will have to be kept in mind before proceeding with the IPO. I read it again. The sentiments of institutions and retail investors will have to be kept in mind before proceeding with the IPO. The IPO is for retail investors and needs to be fully subscribed, which means large number of people will be investing in it, he added. The VIX India volatility for certainty is stability. We have to be in green before going ahead. But the 31 March deadline is no longer sacrosanct. 31st March deadline is no longer sacrosanct. Big investors have to cut the checks. They have to be on board. But good chunk of the IPO is for retail investors, and that needs to be fully subscribed. To ensure the IPO's retail quotes get adequately subscribed, LIC agents are working overtime. To ensure the IPO's retail quota gets adequately subscribed, LIC agents are working overtime to ensure that 280 million plus policy holders have PAN so that they can link it with the new or existing demat accounts and purchase LIC shares. A total of 10% of LIC shares for retail investors will be reserved for the policy holders, and they are all likely to get a 10% discount on the IPO price. 10% discount on the IPO price. The third official said the government was keen to go ahead with the IPO at the beginning of the next fiscal, that is April. Though the Security and Exchange Board of India has cleared LIC's IPO in a record of 22 days, the government needs a minimum of 15 days to sign on anchor investors before opening up the sale for retail investors and policy holders, and a delay will push the IPO to next month. Shifting the IPO to April will impact the government's asset sale goal and impact the fiscal deficit target. However, as the government expects fiscal spending to overshoot financial year 23, the LIC IPO earning may act as an additional buffer. It may act as an additional buffer. The buffer that had kept in the budget for 23 is already off, as oil prices and fertilizer prices as assumed at the time of budget making have already exceeded expectations. The oil prices and the fertilizer prices have jumped up beyond expectations. While they may come down during the course of the year, the LIC IPO may act as a buffer next year, the official added. The success of LIC's IPO is crucial for the government to meet its asset sales target. Which was slashed by more than half to 78,000 crore for the current financial fiscal. The cabinet approved foreign direct investment of up to 20% under the automatic route in LIC to facilitate for foreign investment in the insurer. DIPAM has been holding road shows across markets including US, UK, Canada, Australia and Japan. I repeat, LIC to facilitate foreign investment in the insurer. DIPAM, the Department of Disinvestment, has been holding road shows across the markets including US, UK, Canada, Australia and Japan, according to a fourth official. However, the exclusion of several Russian banks and entities from SWIFT is a major concern for global investors, as reported by Mint last week. Fund managers were against the government's insistence to launch the IPO in March merely to cut the fiscal deficit. Again, the fund managers were against the government's insistence to launch the IPO in March merely to curtail the fiscal deficit. So here comes Tuhin Kanta Pandey, the DIPAM secretary, who is working overtime to see the IPO is subscribed and oversubscribed for the foreign institutional investors portion. So that's how things may go awry to bring people to bring a lot of unexpected difficulties. Disinvestment deadline may be extended. So, disinvestment deadline is also being extended. Why? Is it because of the war or the inflation? Inflation is a ever-present devil, and any reason inflation can keep going up, and that must be sufficiently hedged before itself. The planned sale of Life Insurance Corporation of India shares by fiscal end holds the key for the government to meet its reduced assets target of 78,000 crore for financial year 2022. The disinvestment proceeds were budgeted for 1.75 trillion. LIC's public offering would follow the successful sale of Air India to Tata Group. However, sweeping sanctions against Russia and expulsion of several Russian banks from financial messaging platform SWIFT may dampen foreign institutions participation in LIC sale. Please underline. The foreign institutional investors are outside India, they are not in India. They are not in India. The participation in LIC's share sale as reported by Mint Monday. We have been watching the situation since last month and expecting that there may be some improvement, but it's only getting worse and worse and worse. Some stability is needed. Once that happens, market will bounce back. The first official said, volatile stock markets that are reflective of investor sentiment. Against Russia and the expulsion of several Russian banks from financial messaging platform SWIFT may dampen foreign institutions' participation in LIC sale. So what then if the institutional investors portion is not subscribed to the extent required? For the financial year 2022, the government has received disinvestment proceeds of 12,423 crore as of 7th March from Air India, MOIL, NMDC, HUDCO, HCL and IPCL. From all these 5 or 6 companies, it received 12,423 crore only. So far behind the target. Government would have a bigger challenge at hand in financial year 23 as it would have to divest a much larger number of public sector shares, which may put further pressure on valuations of enterprises lined up for disinvestments. The government will have to target sales worth 1.3 trillion next fiscal, 65,000 crore for LIC. If it spills over to next fiscal, and 65,000 crore target for financial year 23, which will be a major challenge, and it's a big question whether the market will have the capacity to take on such a large number of public sector under shares. Even if the Ukraine crisis is settled, it will be at least 6 months before the markets normalize. So even after the 6th settlement of Ukraine war, the effect of the Ukraine war will take at least 6 months to normalize and to people to forget its effect on them. And if it rolls out even more aggressively, things are gone for the worse. So that is why Tuhin Kanta Das, so great Tuhin Kanta Das. LIP's IPO when government confident of success. DIPAM Secretary Tuhin Kanta Das Pandey, showing well. People are only interested in if they get anything. The IPO must be juicy. But if it is not juicy, throw away. So, Tuhin Kantadas Pandey. The LIC IPO is large offering and we want it to go off well, said Tuhin Kanta Pandey, Secretary, Department of Investment and Public Asset Management, DIPAM. LIC's financial results for the December quarter will be submitted to the Securities Exchange Board of India and as an addendum to the DRHP, that is Draft Red Herring Prospectus. Although SEBI cleared the IPO in a record of 22 days, the government needs minimum of 15 days to sign on anchor investors before opening up the sale for retail investors and policy holders. So before it is coming to policy holders and retail investors, it must clear with anchor investors. The anchor investors must sign on immediately. Multiple waves of the coronavirus pandemic impacted the disinvestment process, especially strategic sales, as they require engagement with investors, due diligence and site visits. However, the process is now back on the track. DIPAM has received multiple expressions of interest for the privatization of HLL Lifecare Limited. He further said one of the main objectives of the government's privatization policy is to raise economic and job generation capacity of public sector companies. And the special purpose vehicle recently cleared by the Union Cabinet for monetization of lands assets, several central public sector enterprises which have large parcels of unused land have not been able to dispose them of, and no ministry has organizational capacity. Please note, large parcels of unused land have not been able to dispose of them, and no ministry has the organizational capacity to handle the monetization of these assets. Hence, the special purpose vehicle will take over the task of carrying on the process in a much more coordinated way. So, the total thing is that disinvestment is on slow phase. The war has erupted. The financial routes are cut down. The timing of the IPO may be ill-fated. The timing of the IPO may be ill-fated. What if the IPO is sold below price? We will sing praises of the LIC, and the policy holders and the retailers must have to wait another 15 days when they will be clearing their goal of achieving the targets and getting it oversubscribed with foreign institutional investors who are playing the key role in the success of IPO. Let us hope that we will not have any sorry figure, as it is already named as LIC IPO set to script capital market history. So I read it slowly. It could open a new glorious chapter for the Indian capital markets with a potential to add to the economic strength of India. Prospective investors of the state-run insurance behemoth Life Insurance Corporation of India may be faced with a big EV conundrum. No, this is not about electric vehicles, which is now the talk of the town. It is about the embedded value, a financial metric that is going to play a crucial factor in the valuation of LIC and its IPO pricing by the government in the coming days. Embedded value. With the LIC IPO slated for next month, there is lot of chatter in the analytics circles as well as among retail investors on a reasonable pricing for the IPO and whether the government will leave anything on the table for retail investors. There is also this debate in the market questioning the almost 6 times jump in LIC's embedded value from 0.3 lakh crore of March 31, 2021 to 5.4 crore of September 30, 2021 and trying to ascertain as to what explains this sharp rise in embedded value. Crucial call on EV multiple. The other alternative, if it does not want to offer discount to retail investors, is to look at a lower EV multiple of say 1.9, which will give an enterprise value of 10 lakh crore and thereby disinvestment receipts of rupees 50,000 crore. So effectively the government will have to take a crucial call of where in the 1.9 to 2.4 EV multiple range it will settle for the proposed IPO offering. The IPO has potential to script a new glorious chapter in the Indian capital markets journey and add to the economic strength of India. The government hopefully will do a smart job of making this a reality while making a sizable sum of disinvestment receipts. Again, the IPO has the potential to script a new glorious chapter in the Indian capital market journey and add to the economic growth of India. The government hopefully will do a smart job of making this a reality while making a sizable sum of disinvestment receipts. So let us expect good days. Let us be hopeful of everything. But we see the small quotations from papers. Let us understand the IPO fully, whether anything will be left for the retailers or not. It's a great wonder to be seen by May 12th and onwards. Thanks friends. This is Dilse Ratnam signing off. Subscribe my channel for better financial news on IPOs, derivatives and NFTs, ESOPs and several other financial topics. Thanks friend. Have a good day. Bye.